is completely irrelevant to what I am going through in life. Like we're at totally different stages. So like if you're like steal my stuff, well that's great, but I don't have little kids going through nap time, so it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense for me to steal that. So I can go in and I can screenshot your post and I can copy all of the words and throw them in Chat GPT and say, "Can you please write this and gear it towards having teenagers, not little kids with nap times and wanting to
Mm.
be alcohol free but also continue in staying sane and having good memories for my kids." And then it will just completely rewrite everything and it'll gear it towards teenagers and make it more like, oh my gosh, that does sound like exactly like me. And then I can of course tweak it to where it's like
That's
Molly's talking.
super smart. I haven't even thought about using the chat GBT for that.
Yeah. Well, even like you could even do it with some of your viral reels. Just go in and just say reword this and then do another reel just like that.
Yeah.
That's what's working for me in this time in my life where I cannot pull any creativity. So like I'm still able to show up in this way, and if other people struggle, like you can still show up. You can still take the 10 or 15, 20 minutes it takes to get your content out there that you need to get out there if you're not in an emotional space to be able to be creative and do it. So
Yeah.
definitely steal that. We were talking, but I'll let Bethany take over.
No, it's totally okay. Hey, Nicole. So, I mean, hey, everyone that's here. I just, Nicole's in the middle of the screen. And it sounded like I was so not happy to see you. Sorry. Um, we were just going to talk about reels today. I was going to use um Molly and mine's text message that kind of even inspired this too. And I know everyone has different kinds of accounts. Everyone's growing different things. I'm even playing with it so I can I have different insights on coaching different accounts because I have one that's very brand savvy and it's like me and sobriety and this product. And then I have one that is solely the product. And then I have one that is like influencing and I come from that approach. So there's just all different ways to do this. But it's proven that I can sell on all three despite, so you just kind of got to pick your goal for right now and what you want to do. Um, where is, and anyone can feel free to pop in, ask a question. I only ask that if you ask a question in the middle of me saying something that you remember what I was saying before you ask the question because I won't remember how to come back to it. That's the only thing I ask. And I never know where share screen is every time. Oh, it says share. You guys hear this every time too. And you're like, you one participant, multiple. Oh, I just want to share. Number 3. There it is. Can anyone see anything? I can't see.
I can see your screen.
Okay. So you can see Molly.
Yep.
Okay. So essentially, Molly messaged me and was asking for helps on reels. And I see this with a lot of your guys' reels, not particularly you guys that are on this call, but within the team's call. And within the team, and you guys show up on my algorithm, I see it. And it's easier to critique someone else's stuff versus your own, right? So instantly I can help someone else versus helping myself. And there are just so many other ways. I think because I did Friar for 2 months too, I was constantly being critiqued by him and how I could do better with things that I just kind of got in the habit of it. So Molly had, I don't know if you guys can see that, want to have your mind blown. And she lists, if it's not over after 30, instantly puts, if you feel like, and then at the bottom, like something is not right. A few simple things may change everything. So first, it was too fast, in my opinion, as I think I said to her, and if I seem rude on this text message with Molly, she allows me to be very frank with her we just bounce back and forth like that. And you can tell by her response of fuck that she's the same way with me. So I told her that was too fast. It's just too much information all at once. If you're scrolling by, want to have your mind blown. I don't know why I'm laughing at that, but it's just too much information all at once. So I told her, make it like 6 seconds with that much information, 4 to 6 seconds, right? So the viewer can actually read. And you're going to have your hook for the first 1.5 seconds, right? And you guys play with the numbers and what feels good for you. There's so many different ways to do this. And the pain points after it for 4 to 5 seconds. So she tried this. Woman over 30, are you still following the myth that get ready to screenshot? I think I told you to take out the get ready to screenshot part, just because it's a waste of space on the text. And so you leave the hook.
My baby is my own.
Something's not right. And then she has those little fingers. This is the final one, I think. So having this for 1.5 seconds allows the scroller, me, to be like, oh, I'm over 30. What's the myth that everyone's falling for? I probably know it. I don't need this information. And then seeing exhausted, moody, physical pain, bloated. Wait, what? What do you mean? This isn't normal. And then I go to her caption. Does that make sense so far? So like that she could even take this same reel and apply it to moms over 30. If this one does well. And just tweak the hook.
There's something, Bethany, about the hook is, are we supposed to have our hook flashing? Like I have all my words all at once. There's nothing flashing ever.
So you're supposed to do whatever you want. I don't want to sound bossy, but
no, but
so
I mean, what works?
What essentially I did was I did 2 a day for 30 days, probably more. I wasn't like, oh, okay, day 30, I'm over. Hey, this is day 15. So I don't know exactly. I just got in the habit of doing 2 a day. And the ones that took off and did really well is what I saw was working well for the audience, and I recreated it. So I have a couple with all the screen on it, right? Without the hook. And so it's just like all the text all the time. And I don't know so much if those do well. It just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So you get to play around with it. And that's the important part of doing 2 a day or 1 a day. Do whatever fits for you. You'll be able to collect more data if you do it 2 a day for 30 days versus 1 a day for 30 days, right? Did I answer that question? Yes or no?
Yes, you did. Yeah,
Okay.
that's perfect. I think you're right. Just figure it out and see what works for me. I'm gonna go back and check my data when I get off this call. Because I noticed there is some that are working really, really well, and then there's others that aren't. So there must be a reason. So I got to figure out, like you said, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. And so like I've even reposted the same ones 4 or 5 times. And I've tried with the different audios too. And that's why I'm really stressing finding ones under 1,000, because consistently across all 3 of my accounts, when I do that, it works out really well in my favor. And maybe you don't like the wording on the songs of these under 1,000, right? There's a lot of times I don't either, but I just then scan the audio to like the beginning where it's just the piano playing and there's no word. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect sense.
Okay.
I've done that sometimes where I've scanned the audio and it's so creepy because like I scan it, I'll go to a part and it so fits with the reel and I'm like, wow, that's the universe working with me.
Yeah.
I love picking a different part of the song.
You too. So this is actually eventually what we did. So Fryer's method, and Nicole, I don't know if you want to pop in, but he has you do the hook. And this isn't for all your reels. You guys don't have to do this for all your reels. These are called conversion reels. So your hook, right? And then you're talking to them because your audience doesn't care about you and what you're going through. Unless you're like Justin Timberlake making a reel about why you got a DUI. Then you're watching that reel over and over in I form because you care, right? But we are not celebrities. People get on the internet to figure out how to help them. Like I have gotten on 3 times this last week to figure out how the F word to get my boys to stop arguing. Like I will search that and look for real ideas. That is why I'm on Insta. I'm not on Insta looking for anything other than a solution for me unless I'm making reels for solutions for other people. This is from Fryer. And so not that he's like the end all say all, but I actually wasn't even, I began to question if he even knew what he was doing and told him that. And John like got on my case too. He's like, honestly, Bethany, the minute something doesn't work for you within the first week, you're just like throw it in the trash. He's like, you need to give it time. And Fryer told me, he's like, Bethany, I did this for a whole year before I figured it out. You want to throw it in the trash for the first week because you're not seeing results. And I'm like, okay, fine. Good point. So you're going to do the hook and then list what other people are feeling. And you're saying if you, right? And list the things. And then you're going to give, well, I don't know if you remember what it's called.
Back up. Back up.
Folder. Trying to pull it up. So those things right there are called outcomes. If you feel are called the outcomes. And then turning. I don't know if you guys care about the names, but you're listing the outcomes and then you're going to say something, and you don't have to do this all the time. Remember, you're testing with different reels. I always say I did too until I tried a gut protocol. Then I started waking up with more energy or something like that. I can give you guys tons of examples on my own reels that you can ask questions. But honestly, just like Molly said, you guys at the beginning of this is she can go to any of my reels and take what I'm saying, even the viral ones, and apply it to, how do I search? Put it in ChatGPT and be like, how do I apply this to teenagers? Like this one right here is for the kids' gut stuff. And I copied that from someone, but made it me and my kids. I don't know what my block was with copying people before, but I'm glad I'm over it. And I want you to get all over it too, because I think I have 30 enrollments this month, you guys. 30. Some are Happy Juice. Most of them are just the Kids Mood Plus stick from this. But in doing this, I went into it with strategy, and each person that's gotten a Kids Mood Plus stick now has an educational program about what adding the gut health pack does in my flow desk. Plus I have over now 20, someone do the math. I started at 500 when I did a reel, basically that one, but on a different thing. I started at 500 subscribers and now I'm up to 3,200 in a week, which is insane. And what I'm doing, you guys, is having them drop a code word for more information. And if they want the information, they have to give me their email. And when they get that email, they get the information of what the kids stick is. And I give them tons of education. I give them a testimony, and then I give them the $10 off at the bottom. So they get that. And if you think of anytime I go to buy something, a clothing item, I instantly wait for the pop-up that says, hey, I get 10% off on my first order, and I give my email to use that code. We're doing the same thing, but with attraction marketing. Except for now, I get to continue to feed them. Like yesterday, I put out my third email for the kid saffron stick, and it was solely on how we mix it up. And then my son giving his testimony of how it made him feel. And Hawk knows that he gets paid for this. So he did it with a smile and strategic. And he's like, this is good. It makes me like, and he said it in his own words, but it was his testimony in less than a minute and a half. And I think I sold a kid pack from it, in which he gets a cut. My kids are smart, and they started letting me know that if I wanted them doing videos, they get money now. Smart. I appreciate it. But like all these, I have put on my Functioning with Rugrats, the bigger account too, on different songs. And I did that because I'm trying to figure out if the myth about, hey, using the same words on a reel or copying a reel is going to push you down or push you up, like, is true. And I've discovered it's not. I'm using the exact same caption, except changing my handle. And it's not doing anything different. And then I've played with the above 1,000 and below 1,000 audio. And one thing you guys might want to think about, like, I'm passionate about the kids product. Yes. Am I as passionate as helping mothers make money? No. But I have discovered in thinking these last couple weeks that parents are more willing to help and spend money on their kids than they are themselves. And it's easier to say, hey, my kid's the problem, than, hey, I've got to work on my fucking shit. And so I don't have data on this because it's only been happening a week, but I'm hoping, because in my very first campaign and contact with them is getting them into the education groups. So they're already going to get touch points about Happy Juice and see all the stuff that Amanda Cooper puts in our Happy Juice thing, right? And be intrigued. They're going to get emails from me, and they're already signed up with me now for a year. So if they go and see this viral Happy Juice from some other person that they don't realize is associated with Kid Mood Plus, because they don't read my emails, they're going to be stuck buying it from me because they've already been locked in through me. So thinking of, like, you could even take the same one and do it with teenagers. Do you know how many parents are frickin' pulling their hair out right now because it's summertime and they have teenagers and kids sneaking out in Nicole? Kids sneaking out, just being out of control, that kind of thing. So you can even do it with, like, if you don't have kids, you can do it with your own self. I mean, I'm a woman that struggled with panic attacks, and that's what I used Kid Mood Plus for. Like, I threw away my panic attack medicine outside my anxiety medicine once I started using Kid Mood Plus. So there are just so many different ways around it. Sorry, I didn't see that there was a chat. I mean, I knew there was, oh man, Nicole, I was gonna, when I said 30, I was about to be like, Nicole probably knows my enrollments better than
Yeah.
I do. And Nicole, you guys, she always tells me good job on the enrollments. So when she told me this month, I was just like, okay, cool. But I finally logged in and looked at the actual enrollment.
It's 35, Bethany, because I forgot to add yours to John's account. But I guess that's just what I was saying. Like, and it's making, like, I don't have my flow desk as cool as Bethany's right now, but I'm working on it, and it's making it easier for me to promote, because instead of being like, oh my God, buy this from this link, buy this, I'm pushing people to, like, hey, well, just go learn about it on these emails. And then they're kind of like stuck with me in the emails, and they can keep learning. And even my emails are super chill. Like, I'm not like, hey, buy this. It's just like, this is what it can do for you. Try this link, watch this 2-minute video. People check their emails when they have like full attention. You know what I mean? Like, we mindlessly scroll, but nobody mindlessly checks their emails.
What I love about this too is, I mean, I mindlessly check, but what I do is I was telling John about this. I was like, whenever I purchase something, I get it. And because I'm subscribed, I'm like, okay, I don't have to get this right now. I know they're going to email me back. I'll get it then. I'm too busy right now. And I wait for the next email and I purchase it. So, I know Shay was mentioning, or someone was, maybe it was you, Kendra, you mentioned giving a freebie and something like that. Yes, I have my sober email list. That's just something outside this, that because sober coaching is my passion, I have the audience. You know what I mean? Like it's something I want to get to one day. And so it's smart for me to diary my sober stuff with people there, because that's just what I do and I do it anyway. Essentially, I've taken like my long 5-paragraph posts that I write sometimes and post on the internet and given it to a sober audience. But I'm not converting those people. And I go back and forth in my mind all the time. Yes, I'll eventually put out like what I use for gut health and stuff, but I don't rely on that. So I go back and forth in my head all the time. What is my priority right now? Sober coaching or Amari? And it's Amari because I need to jump in right now while we're in hyper growth and I want this legacy income so I can do the things I want to later, right? Does that make sense? And so when you guys see me pop on like my stories or go live about sober coaching and stuff, for me personally, if God sends someone my way and my price tag fits with them, I will make time for it. But I am not actively being like looking for, in case you guys want to know where my head's at. Because I know sometimes you look at leaders and you're like, holy shit, they're doing so much. I want to do that too, that kind of thing. I don't have an active sober coaching client list, right? Like it's God driven. Amari is my focus, but it helps me answer other questions and stay relevant to my audience. And it's just how I end up being, like, sometimes you'll see me talk about alcohol around kids, and I put it in the context of a client came to me with this question, when really it's me struggling with my parents drinking alcohol around my kids. But it's how I talk about it on the internet. So that way, my mother watching my stories, I may be planting seeds for, but she doesn't know it's about her. Just so you guys know where I'm at, if in case it seems like I'm doing like all the things and so many things. That's not what's happening. So I don't know if you have all, I just want to emphasize, you guys can take any of these reels for conversion anytime. Like I would go through this one, I've posted like 3 different times, and sometimes it's done really well. Molly, you commented in the word that you like the color, I mean, not the color blocks, but the word walls. I think this is a word wall one for me. So I did that. And then I think at the very last second, I wrote see caption. So you can do something like that, or I'm trying to show and then all these captions, you guys, you can take them or take what, the ones that are doing well, maybe like this was another way of getting people to see what Happy Juice can do for them. It allowed me to have a deeper connection with the kids. I'm trying to figure out. A word wall one that I just essentially, like I do like a big word wall like that, and then I bounce one other thing. And the reason I do that, and I think the reason that coaches have you do that, is so that way the person's eye focus and gets hooked on the one thing, you know? Like if you think of a billboard when you're driving and those tricky ones that it's all the words in white, but then 3 letters are in yellow that spell a secret message, you know? I think that's essentially what the hook, or like having just something like this at first does, and then that. So that way, if they're scrolling too, all of a sudden something like until it's too late. What was that about? Pops up, and then you're drawn to it in a second way. I think a lot about when I'm scrolling reels, the mom that is breastfeeding while she has toddlers running around. And I'm like, what's going to draw her attention, right? She sees a lot of words, maybe, but if there's something that's like a sentence about anxiety, you could do the opposite of this too. You could have the hook here and then a second in, put the whole big word wall. Does that make sense? Yes, no?
Yeah, I agree. And then also on your word walls, you want to make sure that like your video in the background, see how that's very like subtle movement. You don't want to have too much movement because then you can't even read the words.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. I used to do mine fast, and fast is it's not my preference to even watch of other people's.
Yeah. And you can even like slow down. Like you can edit the speed of your video. So if like you still want like that content, you can slow that down even. So like I've got one scheduled of Journey like running in the yard, but I slowed it way down so it's not her running through the words on the screen and it being way too fast. And then if it's so fast and if it's going so fast over and over and over and over, they can't even focus on the words to be able to read it. And then they're like, screw it. It's all about that human brain, I guess.
Yeah. And even, I don't know, you guys can tell me, I can't see everyone, but if you open up the audio, you can see the lines of the audio, right? Do you know what I'm talking about? Essentially, like if someone's clapping, it's a big line, or where the words start, it's a big line. Do you guys know what I'm talking about, or am I making zero sense? Do you know what I'm talking about, Molly?
No, I don't know.
I wish I could share screen in a phone. You know how you go down to trending audio? You click the audio and then you go to use it. Nicole, do you know how to share screen a phone?
Yeah, you make me host, but I don't know if I know what you're talking about, but guide me through it.
Or could you walk me through sharing my phone?
Maybe. Oh
Or
yeah. I have to
Okay.
log in Zoom and do what you did here. Everyone just go to Bethany's Instagram and copy all her reels.
Yes.
That's what I'm looking at right now. That's why I was distracted. I'm like, which one
And
will work?
once you guys, I do the same thing to Nicole. Like I take her stuff and I'm like, oh shit, I relate to that. How can I relate it to sober people? And just remember, it's been interesting remembering my audience because it matters. Like on the Functioning with Rugrats one, it is moms and kids right now. The cortisol one is parents, and my sober one, I can put the same kid one on my sober page and it just falls flat. So you got to remember who you're talking to too, and develop that within your next 30 days. Try and like keep your audience at the forefront of what you want happening.
So Bethany's been talking about doing 2 reels a day for this growth, like do 2 reels a day, 2 reels a day. Let's pump it out, get it in the algorithm. So I'm like, I am not in that creative space. Like I'm not at that space in that time in my life right now. Like in a couple weeks, I might be in a different space. So I was like really struggling. Like I don't have anything to talk about. I don't know what to say. And honestly, I feel like this has been the best time for me to be able to create content because Bethany and I were talking and you could just go follow other successful accounts. And so now I've got like Bethany has this cortisol coach one where I think it's, I don't know, cortisol mocktail account. So I just made one very similar to that and literally just going in and recreating these reels. So you guys can have multiple IG accounts and then just copying and pasting and having ChatGPT recreate there's no wrong in it and you're not copying word for word. So it's not messing up your algorithm and you're getting content out and creating accounts. Like this is just busy work. It doesn't need to take, you don't have to be like, oh, I have to be somebody special and I have to have this big, huge story. Like there is zero creativity in my brain right now, and I'm getting followers and getting more views than I have in several weeks or months, really, just by going in and just doing the bones of what needs to be done and doing it the way that it's supposed to be done. We can create these reels and put them out there like, oh, that was all genuine, authentic work. But if you're not doing it the way that it needs to be structured, it's falling. You're not getting it out there where you need it to get out there. So I would just suggest like going in, copying this content, having ChatGPT reword everything for you, and watching how the bones flow and how you gain followers and you get engagement, and then you'll know the structure of it. And then when your creativity switches back on, you will already be in flow of how the reels should go, and you can create it your own. If that's helpful for you, it has been helpful for me this week for sure.
Yeah. And are you starting to use under 1,000?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yes. And that is huge.
And so what I do when I find an account that I really like too, you guys, or I posted accounts in the Always Happy Hour affiliates today. If you see that they get good engagement, go and take that one or the bones of that one and make it yours, right? And then you can take what you're getting lots of views on and recreate it over and over and over. Not like every day, but once a week. So like the one where I've done like, it's 5 p.m. on a Wednesday, you're tapped out, touched out, maxed out, your entire body's filled with rage. I've changed that and tried it out on a Sunday to alcohol-free moms, that type thing. Like I'm looking at Sarah's picture right now. So it's 8 p.m. on a Wednesday. You're tapped out, touched out, maxed out. You've been at baseball since frickin' January. Like you just tailor it to what you kind of talk about already, right? And sometimes I always look at what's getting comments on the other accounts too and what's not. So I have one where I say it's 5 p.m. on a Wednesday and I say, and then you find my account. And on that one, I invite people to follow me versus, and then you find my account, come buy my gut drink. But it all leads to the same solution. Does that make sense?
I just wanted to verbally answer Gloria's question because I know I had the same question finding these audios. So what I do is I know Bethany does it, so she's already done the hard work. So I go to her Instagram, past 3 to 6 reels, depending on when she did them, click on the audio she used. If it still has, the views under 1,000, I save it and then I just use it that way. It's so much easier to do that. You can also do that. Jill Sager I think Jill really keeps hers under 2,000 though. So Bethany's probably your best option. And then Coach Fryer will at times do it too.
Yeah, I see Coach Fryer do it sometimes, but other times I'm like, I get really picky actually too when I know I have a good content reel and I try and choose something. I don't want you guys to do this because I don't want you spending time doing this. Just go to my page, but I try and keep it under 500. So I say 1,000 here because I don't want you guys spending your time doing that. It's like something that I do for 15 minutes when I get on the treadmill every day is look for the audio that I'm going to use.
Hey,
right?
but sometimes you use a low audio without the little arrow. Because is the arrow mean trending?
So sometimes I have a reel in mind of what I'm going to do and it's low audio and the lyrics spoke to me and goes with what I want to talk about. And I'm like, this is a God download. And I've had several take off like that and never get the high audio, but it just went well, right? And so I lean into that. And you guys, sometimes when they don't do well, I lean into the bigger picture of God put that there for me right then because he knows I have other shit more important to be doing. Like I've just really taken the attitude the last 2 weeks that everything is happening for me. So like where one reel's doing well and one isn't, I'm like, that's happening for me because God knows I can't handle 2 reels doing well right now. Like I've got enough on my plate, right? God wants to keep me humble, not greedy. Like I just keep saying how, and you can transfer it to the universe, whatever you want. I just say God, but that things are happening for me. So I even take that approach when I haven't gotten a reel out and something else is coming up. I'm like, okay, this is happening for me. I can't see why, but it is. And maybe posting that reel at a later date is going to bigger picture of things, get to the right person that needs to see it, as opposed to when I wanted to post it. Like letting go of control of it all and just trying to get 2 up a day when you can and really releasing control. I can't stress enough. When I brought on Flowdesk, you guys, I wasn't sure, but now I have the data and the numbers to show all those people that have enrolled with Kid Mood Plus and Happy Juice this month. Only 3 of them I have had conversations with. The rest is email. So I'm even having to introduce them to myself when I text them to follow up. And some of that, like, it's freeing not to have to search your inbox for Happy Juice or write down, hey, let me go find Mama Sober Holistic and follow up with her, because it's all in the email thread, right? And whether you have 20 people or 2, you have to start somewhere.
I think I was caught up in this has to be personal. This has to be personal. This has to be personal. And what we all need to realize is, and I speak for myself, is people are ordering this stuff with or without my personal testimony, without my story, without me being a recovering alcoholic. They're doing it without anything that I have to do with it. So we can go in and create this content, and they don't have to know what your life is like. You can still just create this content. And those top end rollers, those Katie Whitecamps and all those people that are enrolling hundreds of people a month, that's what Bethany's doing. You just got to give it time to get the ball rolling, and then she'll be the one that has hundreds of comments, and they're ordering, they're all commenting that code word or the word that you're supposed to comment. We can all be doing this and having to take the personal. You can take the personal out of it. Like if I'm having a shit day, you can still go in and create content and get orders and get enrollments without having to have that personal aspect on your content. Does that make sense?
I don't know why that makes me want to cry, but because it's so true. When you look at like Megan Kamita and all that, all her reels, nothing is personal. It's all sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I forget the person you just said, she does funny stuff too. So you get to see her personality every now and then. And people fall in love with her, but she's not on Instagram, you guys, and away from her family to create content. She's on there with the freedom to create content because she's pulling in frickin' bank as the top enroller of the company over and over and over. After you sent her to me, Molly, I started looking through all her stuff, and she even has a reel where she states the reason she's successful here is because she takes 3-second reels, shows her transition, and that's what she does. That's how she's built her audience. And maybe I got emotional because I think the last 2 years, and given Instagram has changed a lot, so it's not like from when I first began. When I first began, you guys, it was a branding thing. Like you had to be posting more than just what you were selling. But now it doesn't matter. Like right now, Instagram is about the other people and not you. And I'm learning that a lot too with the sequence stories. Maybe that's why I'm emotional too, because so much of my time was on this frickin' platform, not enrolling. And I considered myself a high enroller, right? Even doing stories, like just, John, I got to get stories up. Kids, be quiet. I got to get stories up. I just got to say this one thing. Then the stories would glitch. Then everything would just go to shit. And you're spending like an hour and a half of your family's time. The reason you were doing this in the first place, just to get up stories that bring in no one, right? I mean, sometimes you get the occasional click and you're like, yeah, it worked. But with the sequence stories, I take 15 minutes and I allot myself this time. The 5 slots, right? Every now and then I go in and talk just so people get to know my personality too. isn't good these days because I forget what I'm saying mid-sentence. And then it's like, well, does this stuff really work? But it allows me to do it without being real time. So the pictures I'm taking of my day and my family anyway are now because I want the pictures, not because I need stories. I'm not taking videos because I need stories. And I'm then now grabbing from that, the things I'm doing for me and sharing about the business over that.
Mhm.
And then within the stories, I'm leaving my Flowdesk link. If they want more information, they're hitting that and giving it to me. And I'll tell you the kind of purchaser I am. I do that to people all the time, get the 10% off. And if I want it, I go and buy it right away. Like, it is not unnatural to give your email to get a 10% off code versus putting the $10 off. And you guys can do this any way you want. I just want more time freedom for you. When I
Mhm.
say that, I'm not like no promises in terms of compliance, but you get what I'm saying. And so versus them hitting the link, seeing, oh, it's $129.95. I'm not buying this right now. Now they have I have their email, and I get to share the testimonies and put the value on it at an emotional level of how it is going to help them. Does that make sense? And so I put in the Always Happy Hour group how those sequence stories are too. And it's hard for me not to put everything all at once. I want to talk about the business and Happy Juice and the kid stuff all in one thing. And I've made mistakes doing that, but I'm more successful when I'm like, I share what I'm doing for the day. I try and put a meditation, and then the sharing a testimony each day too after the product really works. I don't know the exact sequence I have it. I have to go to our own group to make sure I'm doing it right. And you can mix it up how you want. But there's just so much freedom in getting your life back when you're not on Instagram all the time. And all those people leaving comments. I don't know if you guys have ManyChat. Obviously, when that reel took off last week, I had like 10 comments within the first 5 minutes. I got my ass out of bed. I bought ManyChat for that account because I refused to, because I'm like, I am not letting this run my life today. I promised the kids we would go to the Pacific Science Center. I got on ManyChat, I purchased it, and that's the one that has over whatever. And they all just got the link to the saffron stick. My inbox still had, what is the product? What is the product? Like after, and only to some of them I said, here's the link, not to Kids Mood Plus, but back to my email. Because people are lazy too. They're not going to there's the few, and I get like this too, where I'm like, fine, if you're not going to tell me the product, I'm going to go find someone else. But I was okay with that because I had to remember my why was my kids that day. So Flowdesk is just, I 1,000% recommend you guys do it. And once you master this, you'll be able to give your referral code to the people you enroll. And I'll tell you too, someone like I have, she's been here. You guys know Grace from the chat, but she's attracted into wanting systems like the Flowdesk I'm making. And I guarantee if you joined someone that had something like this back then, you would have been super into it too. Because no one gets into this wanting to be on Instagram all the time, right? Olivia too. I know, I just want to address this. Is she still on? I know I talk a lot about, and Kendra, you too. I talk a lot about moms and kids stuff. So just feel free if you guys ever feel like, oh, how do I turn this into something for women? Ask that in the chat and we can all help. Oh, Kendra, sorry. I don't know how I don't know that. God, I'm an asshole. Please forgive me. Okay.
It's so okay. You said it last time too, and I was like, wait, I don't even think she knows I have a kid, but guess what? He's not around a lot, and I
Okay.
didn't have the first half of my sobriety, so very fair on your behalf. Okay, don't worry about it.
Well then, Olivia, I don't want you ever feeling like you don't belong within us because I talk so much about kids. So
It's
there's
not even just you. It's just like with the release of Kids Happy Juice. It's hard because like I don't actively have a kid. And I
yeah,
know
oh, that's a good point.
like I know kids sell, like not to say that rudely, but like I do children's photography. I know kids sell. But it's
So there
hard.
you go. You can use a video of my kids if you want, and you can say, I started giving the kids I take to my photography sessions holy basil,
Oh.
saffron, and this before with, people are going to come at you. You can't write like the whole story with permission from their parents on your
No,
reel,
no.
but people will come at you like, why are you giving it to your whatever? And that's when you get to just ignore those comments or say, what I've been doing to you guys with controversial reels like this, my very first line that I put, like Olivia, you'd put, I ask parents permission for, and you'd pin it. So
Yeah.
when people want to be jackasses, I say, please see pinned post.
Yeah.
Please see
Okay.
pinned. So you could do
That
that.
works. And
You could, do you have any nieces or nephews?
so I do, but they're like infants. I do
So
technically have my sister, but the only thing with that is my mom doesn't believe in holistic things
yeah.
like at all. So I can't just be like, yeah, I gave my sister this because she's already medicated and for her,
So I mean, I guess I'm just wondering because they're kids. So if you ever need like a B-roll of my kids or something,
yes,
let me
I
know.
appreciate that. Absolutely.
I
I
do try
understand.
and
That was a great idea, and it actually makes me wish I had that when I was a school photographer because I always had fidget toys and kids get nervous and they get anxious. That would have been like the perfect thing. Be like, hey, have a shot of this.
And if any of you guys can figure out how to fit like, I know Molly, your stuff isn't kid content either, but actually this is something I thought about a week ago when I was brainstorming. I'm like, this is hella smart right now and strategically on accident that Kid Happy Juice is coming out and I'm hitting up kid content. It's like a blessing in disguise that this even happened because I didn't even want to post this reel. You guys, I only post on Functioning with Rugrats to stay relevant to the Seattle community so I can continue to get Seattle collabs because I don't like paying for Monster Jam for 4 kids and $100 for parking. So I post every now and again on there to stay relevant. And it just so happened so.
Olivia, what was going through my mind, talking about that, like using B-roll footage of Bethany's kids. Something that would just totally suit you is like, I'm a kid, so I recommended this to my friend because she has kids. Something fun like that. Like that's totally your personality to talk about how you're a kid.
I absolutely agree, Nicole. Like you just nailed it for her. Like that is your content right there.
See, that's exactly where I was thinking, like that's what my gut was saying, but I was like, no, that can't be the answer.
It's definitely
That makes sense. That makes sense because I am a kid. I'm 5. ChatGPT thinks I'm 5, and it explains things to me like, mwah. Seriously, if anybody is not using ChatGPT, I highly recommend, even if it's for something like, I don't understand you can now upload PDFs. So like I've been inputting the ingredient PDFs and I'm like, can you summarize this for me in a way that I understand? And it actually analyzes the PDF and it'll spit back to you what's in it.
You can even ask ChatGPT what Amari Happy Juice is, and it pulls it up for you. Like it already has the information from the internet. And you can say, apply this to the audience that I am trying to sell on a reel about kids that feel ungrateful.
I can tell you right quick. I plugged in. I didn't want to watch the whole video. There was like an hour video on YouTube. So I thought just for fun, plugged it into ChatGPT. I put the name in there and it literally gave me the 40 things he learned at the age of 40, like summarized down. It was perfect for a post. So it's amazing what it does. It blows my mind. It scares me in another sense though.
Yeah.
Why does this scare you? It like if you're
Because I don't
writing
want to
something,
not be able to use my brain. I'm like, if I keep using ChatGPT, I'm not going to be able to use my own brain like in a conversation someday. I'm going to have to like type in like, what do you respond to? How are you? Like, I'm serious. I use it that much.
Olivia, you could even say I'm a mental wellness coach that helps people holistically. Here's what happened
Yeah.
when kids started taking saffron, like that kind of thing.
okay.
But you have to think of
That
your
works.
superpowers too. I think you've told me you have a diagnosis that you're open about.
Oh yeah, I have ADHD,
So
autism, and ADHD.
you could totally like maximize on that. Like I've never heard
Again,
ADHD, but that's really catchy and you could make that a thing. If anyone could make that a thing, you could.
I just always get nervous because I know there's compliance, and I always get in my head. I'm like, oh, I don't want to say the wrong thing.
So, well, you can
That
just
is a trait of ADHD, autism. They want to follow the rules and be strict with everything. You could even say that. Like, I wanted to post this, but my ADHD brain was like, no, you can't.
yeah,
And
I
I
wanted to post this to share that this helps my ADHD, but my ADHD brain is whatever. It's like that. Yeah,
I love that. I love that. Oh my God.
Or like, I wish I had Happy Juice when I was a kid, when I was struggling with all these things.
with
Oh,
And
ADHD.
now like it's improved.
Oh, so one thing I've been sharing a lot because I'm getting a ton of autistic mothers asking about this. And I had to do a lot of research with Scout's sensory processing disorder of like nutrients and then different supplements in the gut. And it all like linked back to autism, ADHD. Sensory processing disorder was like a lesser version of that. I don't know how else to describe it. But so the traits in these reels, Olivia, for the saffron stick, so many moms are saying my son, my daughter's autistic, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just giving them, at first they are signing up, and then I am giving them the Dr. Sean video on autism, ADHD for kids.
Smart.
And I let them, and then those are the people that I eventually follow up with. One thing I'm also doing, you guys, when, and you don't have to do this, but when someone that I'm following up with catches my eye, I feel confident in them or I want to serve, I just give them my personal cell phone number because it keeps me off the gram and I can sit there and just text them. I don't mind having a conversation if they're going to be part of my downline anyway. They're going to end up having my phone number.
That's
It's just
true.
easier for me to better serve them. Another thing that I'm doing within conversations when people are like, how does this work? I send them that, I think it's a 2-minute, I'll copy and paste it right now. It's just a Dr. Sean video about the 90% serotonin in the gut. Share. And what I love about it is that it's the one where he says we've been approaching mental health from a brain perspective and it's time to start approaching it from a gut perspective. So when people ask me about what it does or how this will help them, I say this is the approach I take within my product. If this aligns with you, message me back so I can figure out how to better help you. Then I know right away because some people just aren't into the natural things, right? I don't know if Sarah's here. I talked to Sarah earlier this week, so I didn't know if you had any questions or you wanted to ask any things about IG Reels. I mean, anyone can ask anything, but I just wanted to see if Sarah had anything also. And I put that link in the comments, the video that I send about the approach. Because I found I was using a lot of voice messages with people explaining, which is fine, but this video explains it better than my voice ever could. And the people that want the science, right? And I don't give this to every single person. Like, some parents just want to know it can help. They want the product, etc. And they don't care about the science. I didn't care about the science. I just wanted help. I got into the science afterwards. But you'll know. Okay, does this feel like a good place to stop? And if anyone has ideas for like the next team call or things we should go over, let us know that too in the chats. I just want to make sure that these are productive and constructive towards you guys making money this summer. I don't know if there'll be a sale this week or not. I have no idea. Usually we do have a Amari Global brand partner opportunity call on Thursday. That's brought on by, that is, oh, Jill said something is happening, Olivia said. So when sales happen, I don't know, I'll probably have a pre-made reel set up, and in the caption, I will state that if they want to purchase today, drop this word. And for me, then I will send them my form. I believe, does anyone in here use Jotform? And it's free, isn't it, for 5 forms? Yeah. Okay, so I have 5 forms on my Jotform, and I will my ManyChat. And ManyChat, like I brought this up earlier and then didn't complete the thought, that when you get a lot of comments, ManyChat is worth the money, right? Like on my Cortisol mocktail one, I might get 12 comments. I can handle that as a human being. So don't go off buying ManyChat if you can handle 12 to 20 comments, right? But you can then send them the form. And on my form, what's really working for me, it might be shying people away, but in terms of enrollments on sale days, on my form, and I can put it back in here again, I put the price on it because I am looking to help the people that want it that day on sale day. So and this form is something I use when, like, I posted it today in or maybe yesterday. I try and post it like once a week for the people that want something. What is this in? Jotform. On sale day, I change it to sale day prices. And it kind of just allows your brain to know where to start, because obviously you're going to start with the people that want it, right? You're not going to go to following up with people first if people are sending in your forms. And I wish I knew more when the sale was, but, or what it was, but it does help for me anyway, to get up that there's going to be a sale 24 hours before the sale happens, and have people start filling out my form, because for Facebook, it doesn't show people it for 24 hours. And usually they're 2 days. So then all of a sudden I'm getting people wanting to purchase on that 48-hour mark. And it's like, well, shit, sorry, sale's over. But I put what my form. Cool. Whitney says you can set up forms in Flowdesk too, if you're using that. But I haven't explored. I did see that actually. So if you are using Flowdesk, then I would do that, because from Jotform, I have to download those emails and transfer them into Flowdesk to keep them in my stuff if they don't sign up. Okay. All right, I'm going to end this and I'll try and get it posted by this evening. I'm really proud of everyone that showed up. The summer gets to be what we make it. And I just keep thinking about stresses, vacation, kids, parents, and Olivia, maybe you too could share the stresses of summer, and every now
Like the heat. Honestly, I think nothing gets me more overstimulated than being hot.
There's a reel right there. So, what was I gonna say? I'm trying to figure out what's working in terms of business reels too, because those are just kind of different. And I've taken, you guys, I don't do this every single day, but obviously we all want business people. I've kind of taken the approach that I'm using with the viral reels of other people's and taking and making them my own and using those ones. So like I saw some reel about if you don't have enough money for what you want to do in life, and then that was the hook. And then it said, try network marketing. And I was like, damn, I am freaking attracted to her boldness to say network marketing is the way to make money, because I always like try and be sneaky about it, right? Like I can't say that because then no one's going to want to make money with me. But you know what? I don't want someone in my inbox just to tell them and have to convince them. I want someone in my inbox that's like, hey, I want to do network marketing. Tell me more about it. And I don't know how many people. I had over 12 people drop yes on that. And I took that reel and I actually have like 3 or 4 network marketing people's captions. And I took what I related from them and made it my own. Like, you know, because network marketing is a personal story. So mine was, I started June 2022. But I just like what you find you're attracted to, take that and attract the people that are attracted to what you're attracted to also. Does that make sense? I guess I have 18.
That makes a lot of sense.
And the B-roll will matter. You're welcome, Molly. Here's the example if anyone wants to try and post a business reel. And then the other one is just like, I tell my story. The one that does really well for me for whatever reason is, I'm just going to pull it up because I hate half-assing you guys. And then we're getting off. I'm sorry. You guys can apply this to your story. It's when we were struggling to make bills and on food stamps, I maintained gratitude for what we had. I kept my goals high for desiring more financial flexibility. I didn't like that my yes, we cans relied on a bank balance, so I did something about it. And I share about the focus on 5 in the caption. Because essentially that focus on 5 is what got us off food stamps, right? And then shit got really hard because you realize that you're paying for the $500 worth of food instead of putting it on your food card. And you excel to get to that 1K base pay. So those are 2 business reels that the first one is one I stole from someone that has me 12 new prospects. And the second one is one that I have posted at least 4 times over and over. Okay, I'll put these in the chat and we'll go now. Okay, I hope it was helpful. See you guys.